Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. As we know, the funny thing is that, yeah, they're going to paint a picture that everything went great, right? This is an RT article. Donald Trump, NATO meeting, great. Putin meeting, even better. Everything else, fake news. Yeah, that's a label that they love to throw out there. That, yeah, anything that questions what they do has got to be fake news, right? He may not have been calling an ally betraying Putin-loving traitor by the U.S. liberal media, but Donald Trump is not making any apologies after his European tour that culminated in groundbreaking talks with the Russian president. While I had a great meeting with NATO, raising vast amounts of money, I had an even better meeting with Vladimir Putin of Russia. Sadly, it's not being reported that way. The fake news is going crazy, Trump tweeted on Tuesday. So they're going to tell you that everything's going great, right? Don't you remember this? Wait a minute. I think LBJ said that everything was going great in Vietnam and, there were no casualties and all that. It was quite the opposite. And as you're probably well aware, of course, the Israeli state, Amalek, has attacked Hamas. I showed that in a video yesterday, but if you hadn't caught it, Israeli state strike Hamas in Gaza in response to terrorist acts and violent riots at the border. Yeah, I mean, they just, I hate to see people with rocks, so we just fucking bomb them with fucking drones, right? Fucking piece of shit. Israeli state have carried out strikes against Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip in response to the violence and terrorist acts. Oh, no, I mean, heaven forbid they should spray something on the wall that says you're a scumbag or that you're not the real Jews, right? The group instigated at the border, as well as the cross-border rocket launches, the Israeli terrorists said. Today, the Israeli terrorists targeted an attack tunnel in southern Gaza, in addition to several sites throughout Gaza. Among the complexes used to prepare arson attacks in Hamas terror training facility, the IDF said, posting a video of the airstrike. You know what's hilarious about this, though, is that everybody knows that Amalek controls Hamas. So, of course, it's just so they can weed out the weaklings to smashing their windows and kicking their doors. Wait a minute. I think that came from Pink Floyd The Wall. Never mind. A little humor there. All right. Trump sees no competition in U.S. and fully intends to run for president in 2020. Well, yeah, that's because the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the Amalekites, they want him. After all, they bailed his ass out long ago. Donald Trump has confirmed that there is no planning to run, that he is planning to run for president in 2020, not only because everybody wants him, but also because there doesn't seem to be any viable competition in the liberal Democratic camp. So, he's got that ego tripping going, so let's see. Here's something else that just came out, so let's see this. UK Prime Minister Theresa May says Donald Trump told her to sue the EU. Theresa May have revealed a piece of advice she ignored from U.S. President Trump. Pompous told her not to enter into negotiations with the European Union. Instead, she should sue the bloc as part of the Brexit strategy. Revealing the surprising suggestion on the BBC's Andrew Marr program on Sunday, May appeared to settle what happened to be a chuckle of disbelief at Trump's outlandish idea. He told me I should sue the EU, she said. Sue the EU, not go into negotiations. Sue them. Yeah, okay. I suppose Donald Trump probably wants them to put sanctions on him too, right? So, like they love to say, fake news, right? That everything that questions the authority, right? That questions the the narrative, oh, well, that's fake news. Well, let's see what Chris Green's telling us, because I can guarantee you that the mainstream, who really is the fake news, ain't telling us that this is a smokescreen. World War III is right around the corner.
Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're watching AMTV Alternative Media Television. Donald J. Trump just met with Vladimir Putin at the first ever summit. They've met before, but this is the first official summit, of which they were put on the grand global stage, and the Democrats want to muddy the waters here at all costs possible.
You have been watching perhaps one of the most disgraceful performances by an American president at a summit in front of a Russian leader, certainly that I've ever seen.
Well, again, it's the entire agenda of the DNC and the radical left to destroy Donald Trump, if not forcibly remove him from office. Just before arriving in Helsinki, Finland, there was this witch hunt, of course, where the radical left, again, the same people that said Donald Trump couldn't possibly become president of the United States, have conjured up this falsehood that the Russians hacked the U.S. election, when we know that not to be the truth at all. In fact, we know that the leak came from the inside, according to Julian Assange and other third-party independent sources, that it came from the East Coast. Seth Rich. Seth Rich. Excuse me, I've got a little congestion today. Now, of course, even if it were to be believed that these 12 intelligence officers of the Kremlin, like they're the 12 disciples or something, obviously that's the job of global intelligence. I mean, the same thing is done here in the United States, of course, hacking and invading foreign countries all over the world, places like the Middle East, whether or not this is Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. I mean, the list goes on and on. We saw the same thing in Ukraine with the U.S. government forcefully removing a sovereign leader in the name of Viktor Yanukovych, because, of course, this is a chess piece of Russia, and it's the U.S. intention, her intelligence agents, and her allies to disrupt Mother Russia. But even if it were to be believed that these 12 disciples actually hacked the DNC, well, then I'd like to see the evidence. Where is it? Are you honestly telling me that a couple Facebook ads were able to influence the entire election? And if that was true, it only shows you how stupid the left is. What a disgrace that Obama knew that the DNC was being hacked, allegedly, by Mother Russia, yet did nothing about it, because, of course, they never thought that Donald Trump would win the election.
And, of course, we know that he was meant to win the election. But nonetheless, though, the general idea is that, you know, usually leaders meet before they go to war. And that's what's happening. Let's take a look at something else that's going on. Speaking of other things, you know, the so-called Russian fucking with the election, right? Well, you know, what's hilarious about that is now Vladimir Putin has just done what he's always done best. It's like, well, show me the proof. Show me the proof. You know, just like they can never prove that Bashar al-Assad used weapons against his own people, right? It's like, show me the proof. You have no proof, right? Well, that's what's the same thing with this so-called hacking the elections and this. Remember this?
Joining us live now is Greg Simons, who is an author and researcher, and he's joining us live now via Skype. Greg, as always, thanks for joining us. What do you make of President Putin's statement? As Russia has said from day one, show us the proof.
Well, this has been a recurring theme, of course, that it isn't only on this current situation, which is presented as a crisis, but this has also been historically the thing, to make the accusation, the assertion that something has happened on the basis of taking one's word for it, which is at a later date proven to be misleading or untrue. So a reasonable precaution to take in these current times when a lot of mud is being flung around by all sides.
And so, Greg, you know, we just had this meeting with Donald Trump as well. There seems to be hysteria, essentially, in the West about that meeting. Everyone's really angry at Trump for reaching out even to Russia. What does this do, then, for Russia at this point in its relations with the West as a whole, be it the UK or the US or others?
Yes, this hysteria is based on the narrative of the Russian threat. And, of course, to talk with Putin is being equated as siding with the enemy. But bringing that into consideration, I mean, Obama and before him, different US presidents have talked with Russian leaders without being tarnished as being a traitor. Certainly given that the current tensions between the West and Russia, there is a need to have dialogue at a high level, and one which is not just based on a hysteria, but to actually concretely talk about these things that need to be talked about face to face.
So, either way, though, it's like, you know, just goes back and forth. Well, of course, because make no mistake about it, they are going to go to war. Speaking of going to war, the U.S. aircraft carrier, the Harriet S. Truman, has left to an undisclosed location, so they are preparing for war. And you can best believe that they're going to be moving towards Syria. That's the place, because Assad is winning the war against the terrorists. So here's what's happening in Syria, of course, you know, as these places are being liberated from the terrorists. You can see right there is the Golan Heights, which is the part that the Israeli state controls. So they're running the terrorists out. So you see, though, that they're being run out, and that's why the Israeli state is pounding them. So you know that aircraft carrier is going to be heading there real soon, right, for the next false flag. Meanwhile, the Most High, them chariots, are visiting us. I mean, this is happening now, and this is a great thing. That means that he sees our work. He sees what we're doing here. So, Brakadei Shai. And this is from the GMS channel, Behold I Come Quickly, to see this entire video. But isn't this a good thing to know that this war is about to happen? And, hold on.
His name together. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. They looked unto me and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him, and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him.
So, anyhow, that means that they're just waiting to pick us up. So we just got to wait patiently. And with that, I'll end it. And to all you, I say, Brakatah, Shalom. Death to America and to the 2/3.